Everybody, it's 8:15 on a Thursday night. It's time for GGGaming God Mad. We're going to be talking Rugby World Cup and English Premier League football. Basically anything sporting that's on this weekend. Before you do anything else, if you are new to our show, go down below and hit the subscribe button. Well, of course, with me in the studio, I've got Gary Lentin from GGGaming.bet. Gary, good to have you back on the show. A big weekend of sport last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fantastic, Brent. And I mean, I had to plan my trips accordingly. And actually, as it turned out, I got screwed by the sport. I was leaving the flat. I had everything ready to leave on Saturday night. Excuse me. So I could get to Joburg and have an early night in Joburg and then watch both rugby games on Sunday morning. I got home at about 5:30. There wasn't a single car on the road. Everything was cool. I couldn't miss, right? Came inside, had a shower, packed my bags. I had 40 minutes to get to the airport. I thought it was a piece of cake. And just then the Cape Town City Cars, the Chiefs game finished.
Okay.
Complete gridlock. I cannot believe it. I promise you now, 40 minutes, you couldn't move 10 meters. So that was that. I had to leave early on Saturday morning, which I did. And I missed most of the first half of the French. Actually, I missed the whole first half of the French game. So I missed their dominance. And I only came back really when, you know what I mean, when we saw that elbow and everything. And from there on, it was, you know what I mean, always going to be a tough challenge for them. They did damn well to hold out for that long, right?
Yeah, well, as you know, I was on the French last week. I backed them at 5-2 to win the game. So, I was very disappointed. But at the moment that red card came in, you just knew that they weren't going to hold on and win that game. It was absolute brain-dead stuff. Gary, let me ask your opinion then before we move on to the sport itself. The whole Piper incident, have you seen the photograph with Piper standing with the arm up? And evidently that cost him the semi-final. It seems crazy, eh?
No, yeah, for sure. And, you know, the truth is it may have cost him the final if Wales won on Saturday or part of the final anyway. You know, Brent, I'll tell you what I think. First of all, let me tell you a few things about the game. When I watched the game recorded the next day, I thought there were a couple of really stupid things that crossed my mind. One, when they were against 14 men France and dominating just before halftime, it was a really poor decision not to go for the kick into the corner, you know.
Oh, when they hit the post, yeah.
Yeah, that you felt there the try would have ended the game, right? That's point one. Point two. You know me, I'm not the biggest conspiracy theorist around and everything. And when everybody said that Barrett dropped the ball and he was crook, I don't believe that for 1 second. But I can't get my mind around the fact that a man made a conscious decision to get himself sent off in a World Cup quarterfinal. And that's what it was, Brent. When you run on the field, you know what I mean? You've been told for months and for however long it is and how many people are going to be watching. You know how many people are watching. You know that there are 200 cameras around the stadium, right, that are looking out for every single incident. They're looking to see what's happening on a ball with a ball under 16 people. You know what I'm saying, Brett? Here a guy was standing in a complete wide open, and he went and he hit a guy, and he knew that there's no chance of anything other than a red card, right?
I mean, he changed his position.
What's that?
I mean, he had him in a neck roll, which is bad enough. I mean, yellow card probably for that. But then he actually moved his hand to the other side of the guy's head and elbowed him back. I mean, it was absolutely brain dead. I mean, I went wild. I just said, look, I see he retired from international rugby. I said that guy should never play for his country again.
Yeah. But, you know, to me, that guy, that just thinks of something that doesn't make sense to me. And it made no difference to me in the big outcome of the thing, you know. Thank you, Oracle. Not a jacket, it's a shirt. Most people could make 2 or 3 jackets out of it. But, yeah, I'll wear it as a shirt, you know. So I was very, very up. You know, that I thought was crazy. I really did. And now just to get onto your question about the paper thing, you know, I don't know. I mean, these guys, I think we all forget that they are humans, Brent. They are human. And, you know, what did he do? He had a little bit of fun with some guys after the game. It doesn't mean for 1 second he was pulling for Wales. You know, that was a red card. It made no difference if paper had been dropped, if a brick had fallen on Paper's head before he had to make that decision. That guy was getting sent off, and it wasn't even. He would have been sent off by everybody who was sitting there, the other officials in the game. So I think it's been harsh. Yeah, maybe it was a bad choice of things to do. You know,
yeah.
Often we say things or do things at the time we think are funny, not realizing what the repercussions might be. I think he's been harshly treated. You know what I'm saying? It was a bad decision. But you know, when I look at the photo, it looked like such a fun photo, and it looked like the guys around him were having such a great time as well. Personally, he's done a lot worse things to me in my life, Paper, than having that photo. That I promise you, know what I'm saying? I would have banned him for every second weekend, you know what I mean? Not because he's a bad rep, but I expect every decision to go in my favor when I have a bet, you know? That was the least of the serious things I've seen, Paper. This stupid decision. We all make stupid decisions at work all the time, mate.
Exactly. Now, I felt he was a bit. Look, I thought it was ill-advised thing that he did there, but it really, I could see myself. I would have done the same thing in that situation. At first, I thought the photo was photoshopped because he looked like he's got quite built arms there in that photograph. I thought maybe they'd stuck Kevin Etzebeth's arm on.
No, exactly. I mean, the truth be told, you can't win in some situations, right? Imagine he had said, no, give me a miss, I'm not interested. Somebody would have gone on social media and said, what a dickhead, what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
The photo, who does he think he is? He's a stupid referee. He could have just had a photo with us. You never know, you know what I'm saying, Brent? So it's one of those situations where you just can't win. Simple as that, right?
That's it. I'm just bringing up. We don't have to give an answer on this now. Something for you to maybe consider after the show, Gary. Neil is looking for a price on a Bok win and under 40 points. I know the points line is around about 40, 41, somewhere around there. So, yeah, should be one that can be worked out. Of course, Oracle Rugby, on the other hand, reckons that SA will win by 40 plus.
Maybe they should just phone each other.
Yeah, lay each other the bet. We should start an exchange here, Gary. The guys can lay bets over the live chat.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just trying to think what I'd lay there. You know what I mean? What else South Africa? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I suppose, you know what I mean? I suppose I'd have to bet 15 to 10 SA and over and SA and under as well. You know what I'm saying? I would probably
something like that,
about there,
We can give that one some thought. A rugby fan saying he reckons it'll be 15 to 10, sort of 6-4. That's coming out. I think I've seen it offered a couple of times as well. And Gary, just to wrap up then on the weekend, I mean, England convincing win in the end against an Australian team with a very strange game plan.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%, Brent. But I mean, England did. Let's be honest. All four of the take Wales out of the equation, but New Zealand, England, and SA did everything what they had to do. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Henrik. And
yes,
they really beat us. And I thought South Africa, talking about game plans, I thought that was one of the best game plans I've ever seen them have. You know what I'm saying? And I thought they executed it. And even at halftime, when everybody said they're kicking too much, you just felt that they were just putting Japan slowly behind where they should be. And eventually the size and the strength and the speed of the Springboks would have too much power for the Japanese. And it was exactly that, I thought they executed their plan perfectly well. I thought that Australia, we always knew they weren't going to win this World Cup. Am I right, Brent? And it was always the only way they were going to get into the semi was to get a really easy quarterfinal. You know what I mean? That's the truth. You know what I mean? They're quite far behind. I think they're quite far behind the other three sides. You know what I mean? Behind.
Yeah, you've always said from the start you thought probably Australia were the only ones who didn't really offer any value for the win. I must admit, they showed glimpses. I mean, the fact when they got to 17-16 against England, but then they conceded that try straight after. They never really convinced. I think they just lacked. They gave you glimpses of hope if you were backing Australia, but they were never gonna probably win the big games. And that's the thing. In the end, let's face it, England ran ahead and won comfortably. That was my best bet of the weekend. I then came horribly short in the next game though, Gary, because I thought Ireland v New Zealand would be low scoring. I really thought Ireland would, at the very least, compete, but the All Blacks came out and absolutely blew them away.
It was incredible how one-sided that game was, Brent. I mean, you could never really have predicted it was going to be that bad an Ireland performance. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the All Blacks. They were really good, and executionally, they were brilliant. You know what I'm saying? But Ireland, what happened to them? I haven't seen them show so little guts in the last 7 or 8 years. You know what I'm saying? I really haven't.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Hey, just Gary, while we're talking about that game, just to mention the 4,000 Rand betting voucher last week. You said the guys must predict who's going to win and the first scoring play and the time. And Sean Nicholas and Cerebral Assassin, I think his name is. I thought I'll just mention it. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but Sean, I know, has claimed his voucher prize. The boys split it. They both said New Zealand 7th minute. They were both within the 1 minute range. So pretty impressive that by the lads.
Very, very good. You know what I'm saying, Brent? That was very impressive. And yeah, we're going to throw out a few challenges. And I mean, maybe we should kick off with one straight away. I mean, while we're talking about challenges and see where we are and go with, let's do something exactly the same. Let's go first scoring play, time, and which team will do it. In the New Zealand game, let's do that. Let's kick off exactly there. Same 4,000 Rand. If you can get it right, again, you have to be within a minute.
Right, you've got to be within a minute. 4,000 voucher. That's the New Zealand game, first scoring play and the minute. obviously which team's gonna get it as well. Like England penalty in the 12th minute or something is what we're looking for. Interesting to see what the guys do, Gary. Let's go on to that game. I mean, New Zealand obviously firm favourites. I think around about the -7.5 point mark. Handicap hasn't really moved all week. There's still quite a few people talking England up. Look, I liked England all along for this World Cup, but I must admit I took 9-2 before the quarters, and I see I could still get 9-2 now because predominantly because of the performance of the All Blacks against Ireland. But I'm still in the English camp, Gary. I think they're going to give them a hell of a run.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, that's exactly what New Zealand really showed their muscle on Saturday. You know what I mean? Time will tell whether it was just a brilliant New Zealand performance or a really bad Ireland performance. That we'll find out on Saturday. Look, it just happens that way. I think that, I think the betting's too far apart, Brent. I think, you know what I mean? 9-2 England and 8-10 New Zealand to win the tournament is too far apart. You know what I mean? In my honest opinion, and I don't want to take any flack, and I could easily be wrong, it's just an opinion. One of the two best sides in the tournament will go home on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Well, won't go home, but we'll go to the third place and fourth place playoff. They are the best two sides in the tournament. I have no doubt about that, you know. I see what everybody's doing here. I'm thinking, how about an England penalty in the second minute?
Yeah, that's what in fact, I did see someone go second minute right at the top. I missed some of the early ones that came in, but I think it might have been New Zealand. So you reckon England penalty, Gary?
I think so. I think you got it. I think it's important to take your chances. Everybody's going New Zealand. It's going to be pretty much. I think it's a very 50-50 thing. I think that the team that kicks off have got a big chance to be the team that scores first. I have no doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? I think they'll kick deep and they'll keep pressure. They're going to take it. This is not a game where people are going to just walk out of their own 22 and cruise into the opponent's 22. That's not going to happen. That's for sure. You know what I mean? This is going to be a properly tight game, and teams will battle to get out of, you know what I mean, precarious situations. You know, the other team will keep the pressure on.
What do you think of my one, Gary?
Okay, not bad. All right. Yeah,
I seriously like. I tell you, not so much on this game, but when we talk about the next game, I think we're going to see drop goals in the Wales-South Africa game. I think it's going to be that sort of game. Wales have already shown they can drop goal. We know Pollard likes to have a go at the drop goal. We'll talk about that one then a bit further. But for this one, I think I'm in one of those situations. I've got a nice bet on England to win the tournament, but at the same time, I want more, Gary. I think I'm going to take them. I think I'm just going to back them. I've taken the handicap plus 7.5, but I think I'm going to back them straight up as well.
Yeah, have a go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you've got to go with what you believe. You know what I'm saying? Brent, it's like the guy, it's like the guy who goes and takes a pick six, and his best bet wins the third leg of the pick six, and he doesn't back it because he's got it banked. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and then he gets the next leg. You know what I'm saying? And he ends up doing his money. You know, for England to win the competition, obviously, I know it's obvious, but they've got to beat New Zealand on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I think both games are close games. Yeah, I mean, the spreads are both 6 and 7. I think they're both very, very close games. And I said, Brent, if you go back, I said a lot of crap last week that was wrong. You know what I mean? But the one thing I said, don't have to shake your head like that, but the one thing I did say is that I thought that one of the games at least would be decided by a red card. And that exactly happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I thought it will happen again this weekend. Somebody will get sent off this weekend.
Yeah, there's always got to be that chance, and you've got to think of someone like an Owen Farrell who does tend to sometimes flirt on the edge a little bit with his tackles. I mean, if someone like that goes early in a game, it's going to make a massive difference. But I must say, of the two games, I'm actually looking forward to this one the most. I really am looking forward to England up against New Zealand. I think it's going to be a cracking game. And yes, I'll be shouting the Poms home all the way to the bank, hopefully, in this one. And let's see what happens. And then Clifford Prinsloo coming in, he reckons South Africa by 15. We're now moving on to the next game, of course, because that's on Sunday, Gary.
You think Clifford had enough of you discussing about England and New Zealand, and he just puts up in South Africa?
Yeah, he's just decided we must move on.
That's enough. Move on. Thank you very much. Let's go to South Africa. Okay, Clifford, we got the message. We got it, you know.
Just some interesting team news, which I saw in the Good for the Game forum just before coming onto the show, Gary, is that Liam Williams is out. Now, obviously, there was talk about Jonathan Davies. I'm assuming, guys, that he's playing, but Liam Williams is out. Now, to me, Liam Williams is one of Wales' best players. He's brilliant under the high ball. He's brilliant under the attacking high ball as well. I think he would have put us under all sorts of pressure. I think that's a big, big loss for Wales.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just, the only thing about this game, you look at both sides, like I said, they play very similar type of rugby. A lot of, real tough, hard guys in there. A lot of, good halfbacks. It's going to be a really, really good game, you know what I mean? And on paper, you'd think that South Africa do shade it. But I go back to World Cup. I don't know if it was 8 years ago. I'm guessing it was 8 years ago. South Africa really looked like they should beat Wales, but without any difficulty. And I remember Hougaard, I think, coming on very late in the game and scoring a try that got South Africa over the line, I think, to win by 8-7 or something. And yeah, I think that I truly believe that this game is going to be closer than the public think. I don't know what the public, we're talking about the South African public, I don't know what they think in Islanechti now, right? You know what I mean? They might think that Wales are going to, shade it and they're a better side. But he's going to be close. I think a lot of drop kicks.
It looks like the money's come a little bit for South Africa, Gary. I did see like -6.5 early in the week. Then it came, but I saw you guys were holding firm. You guys were, and I'm going back early in the day. You guys were even money the -7.5 South Africa, 8-10 the Wales plus. And other guys had gone sort of 8.5 and that. So it looked to me as though you were quite happy to lay South Africa.
I just think it's going to be a really tight match, and nobody wants to win. Or they want to, but nobody cares if they win the game by 1 or by 9. Let's be perfectly honest with you. You know what I'm saying? You go to Wales and ask them if they care that they won against 14 men by a point last week. They don't give a shit, right? They just really want to go out there and get into, to the main game next weekend. So I think that for me, I don't see anybody really running away with it. I really don't. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think both of them, the scoreline at the end of the game is going to be pretty close. And I'll go back to my own thing. Can you tell me with any real confidence that you think South Africa will be leading by more than 14 points going into the last 5 minutes?
No, I can't. Look, I do like South Africa a little bit on the handicap here. But, Gary, I'll tell you what my bet is here. Total points line about 40.5. Maybe with a bit of luck, 41.5, but a 40.5. I'm an unders guy here through and through. I think this is going to be a lot of kicking from both sides. I think it's going to be very tense. I'm unders on points here. I don't expect more than sort of 30, 35 points in this match.
I agree with you. It's a type of game where a team gets a penalty, let's say, just out of kicking range, right, Brent? That's on the halfway line, right, or a little bit of view. The game plan is going to be, let's try kick it in the corner. We can't get the distance and try and milk another penalty from the ruck or a maul and then get the 3 points from there. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Nobody's really looking to kick it into the, to go and to try to score tries. That's what I really believe that the game.
Henrik reckons the box will pull away at the end. And even if they do, I could still see the unders coming in, because I think the one thing the box have shown is an incredibly good defense. If you take out those 2 tries they conceded against New Zealand, I think they've only conceded 1 try. Okay, they haven't played great teams, but I think, this is going to be a war of attrition. I'm expecting someone like Henrik, who joins us on the show after this with Oracle. I'm expecting him to be on unders points in this game as well. What comp do we run for this game, Gary? I'll tell you one. There were no winners last week because we said the guys had to get within 3. But that shirt numbers is quite a nice one as well.
I just want to say something there, Brent. You hit the nail on the head with something, and I've forgotten exactly what it was. Wow, man. You made a point about something. I don't know. I'll watch it again later and see if I can remember. I'm on a detox, right? I started a detox today. And so you have to take your lunch with you to work, which is something I've never done in my life before. So this morning I wake up and what I had for breakfast was water infused with some, lemons or cucumber. That was my early morning breakfast, right?
Jeez.
Then my breakfast was a smoothie, right? Which had cumin in and everything, which I thought was from a bad porno movie, but thankfully it wasn't, right? I never knew cumin even existed before this morning, right? So this cumin smoothie at about 9 o'clock. Then my wife makes me this lunch, which I take to work. And I eat, and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm not even hungry. This is brilliant, right? Until I realized I've eaten my lunch already as well, and it's only 10:30 in the morning, right? Now I've had supper, some little white fish here. It's ridiculous. And there was like an onion left on the plate that I went for. It's pathetic, I know. Right. Shirt score, try score shirt numbers. Yeah, that sounds good for me. Let's go. Let's give them 2,000 Rand and let them get to within 5 points this time. All right, Brent, 5 points or lower.
Okay, we'll make it within 5. Goes within 5. So, guys, we want the sum total of the shirt numbers. Liam Williams obviously not playing, but if the fullback scores for Wales, it's 15. Then the flyer for South Africa scores at 25. And just to mention that you guys know, a penalty try is worth 8. So it's the sum total of the try scorers shirt numbers. Let's see your predictions in the live chat. We're playing for a 2,000 Rand voucher. And whoever either gets the nail on the head or gets the closest, as long as you're within 5, you'll get the payout there. So let's see what the guys come. Your mate, Zach Block, coming in at 30, nice and low there. Sean Nicholas is going a little bit higher. and quite a few guys going. I think France the game we ran it on last time was France-Wales, and I think it ended at about 53 or 56, and a couple of guys just missed it, I must say. With a 5-point range, I think we're going to get a winner here, Gary.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. You know what I'm saying? I think
yeah.
so. It's a nice, interesting one because, a couple of tries might come later. You know what I'm saying? And, there were one or two people saying that South Africa would dominate in the latter parts of the game. You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, the shirt numbers are obviously more likely to be high. You know what I'm saying? The ones are replaced by the 16s and 17s and that type of stuff, So, interesting one. I think that Zach's probably a little bit low. I think probably 50 would be my number.
Yeah, let's put Gary's in there just for the record. I'll put it in. Gary, 50. And Brent, I'm going 19. How's that, Gary?
Oh, really? Wow. Pretty interesting. Okay. Excellent. That's very interesting.
Okay. In fact, I see Z.A. Punter, who's been writing football previews on the Good for the Game site and been in cracking form. He's going low as well, 18. And I see there's another couple of low ones. So we got every end of the spectrum covered here. Going to be interesting to see what happens in this one. Gary, as you said, though, you reckon this is not going to be a runaway for anyone. It's going to come down. The handicap's going to be in play right till the end.
This is a Wales side that plays for their captain. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want, they'd love to give him another really meaningful game next weekend. Bigger kicks well. I can't see one team pulling away from the other one. Maybe they're right. Maybe in the latter parts of the second half it will happen. I'm not so sure. You know what I'm saying? I think South Africa, if you forced me to have a bet, I would have a bet over the South Africa. I'd rather back South Africa than Wales at 6-7.5. You'd have to really force me, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that it's a good spread, and I think that you could do your money there quite easily, whichever way you go. Somebody put up there earlier, both teams to win by 1 to 12 points. You know what I'm saying? That's a possibility. But what about this? I mean, these are two competitive games. We haven't had a draw yet, have we, Brent?
No, we haven't. Not in games that have actually been completed. Yeah, I don't think we have.
No, in all the games that just before they start, it's always a draw. Yes. Correct, well worked out. And normally for the first few minutes as well as a draw. But after that, it generally splits away. What about a draw this weekend? Is that not a possibility in one of the two games and a little bit of extra time?
Definitely. I mean, on last week's handicap show, and I brought Oracle up there because he says he smells a bet with me. We had a couple of 500 Rand bets between us last week on the show. We ended up pulling square. I won on England and lost on Ireland. But he was actually making the point on last week's show. If you fancy, for example, France to beat Wales last week at sort of 5-2, don't take the 5-2 they win in the game in 80 minutes. Take a slightly shorter price. Take 23.5 to 10 or whatever, that they progress, because that draw is a runner in these sort of games. There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. It's a big runner this weekend in both the games. You know what I'm saying? They really are. If you think about it, they're three really good kickers, and the All Black kickers has improved as well a hell of a lot. They're good kickers. These games are going to be decided by a few points only. You know what I mean? By a missed kick or a brilliant kick or a drop goal, whatever. It could easily be a draw. 25-1 a draw in both games, or do you know what I mean? You end up getting 12-1 either one to be a draw. Probably worthwhile, Brent. I really think that it's a big runner. You'll have a chance.
Yeah, I think you definitely can. I especially think, funny enough, I'm thinking in that England-New Zealand game, it could be quite tight. Just bringing it up, I see Cerebral Assassin has joined us. Just checking with him if he's claimed his 2,000 Rand voucher from GGGaming. I know Kerry was going to get hold of him if she knew his identity. The boys also talking about the top point scorer market. That's quite interesting. I think it's quite interestingly poised at the moment. Obviously, like Pollard is a contender. I think Farrell's a contender in there. So, going to be very interesting. But, I would say that this is a sort of weekend that perhaps nothing jumps out at me as a best bet in the World Cup. Although I've pushed, Gary, I'd probably go unders in the South Africa-Wales game.
Yeah, I know you do sound very bullish about that. Yeah, probably. I just think that if you force me into something, I'd probably go for South Africa between 1 and 12.
South Africa 1 to 12. Yeah, that's a nice one. I did see someone, and I won't be able to find it. It's hundreds of comments back. Had actually posted earlier that the double. I think New Zealand 1 to 12, South Africa 1 to 12. I think he posted that. And obviously, you get a nice price about those 1 to 12s. As I've said in the past, the problem with that bet is you're never safe. I mean, you're always one score away from losing. But you can very much see both of those games finishing in that. Robert G joining us now. Robert, hope you didn't miss too much of the show, but good to have you on. And then Gary, I think from a rugby point of view, that probably brings us to the end of things. Do you want to should we mention what the big comp is now, just to give the guys time to get it in? We can give some thought to that.
Let's add one more leg to make it really difficult again, Brent.
Right.
I mean, we will give it away, that's for sure. But I don't want it to go too quickly. I mean, not that it's going to anyway. But let me have a quick look here. I just want to find a soccer match that I can add in. But so it's going to be the same thing, except there's not 4 games. There are only 2 games this week. So you need to tell us the first and second try scorer in both games.
First and second try scorer both games.
Yeah. Right. And let's go here to a soccer thing. Who's going to score a goal in one of the
Obviously, Gary,
matches?
if you think there's only going to be 1 try in the game, would you say first and then no try for second?
No try scorer at the next one, exactly. I'm saying. And then let's go with, and again, they have to say who they think is going to win the game. I know we're making it exceptionally difficult. And then let's just go first goal scorer in the Man City game. It's the first game off on Saturday. Get it out of the way quickly and go from there. And at least, first goal scorer and who's going to win the Man City game. So you need to give us, you've got to give us 8 predictions. Am I right, Brent? 2 try scorer. It's really, really difficult. But
it's similar to last week in the sense that obviously last week we had the 4 rugby games. Now we got the 2. So we're asking for first and second try scorer in each game and which team is going to win. And then who will win the Man City game and the first goal scorer. So the guys can ponder over that a little bit while we move on to the soccer. Let's just see if any of the entries.
If somebody gets through the rugby and misses on the soccer, we give them 25K anyway, okay?
Right, if they get through the rugby and miss on the soccer, you'll get 25K. And let's just see what Oracle's put up. So let's see if he's got his entry correct. Well, not quite, because he's left the soccer out at this point. The Pimpy and Nkosi and South Africa to win. And then All Blacks with Barrett and Barrett. I guess you must just point out, Oracle, is that one Barrett scoring 2 tries, or is that Barrett followed by his brother Barrett? I'm not sure if he's on the bench. I didn't see the squad yet. But and then you've got to just add the soccer. So let's see. Neil has come in. Let's see if he's got it right. SA Wales and SA Wales, Bongi, Ken Owens, and SA to win. AB's Aaron Smith, Benny Vunipola, England to win. And the guys just got to throw in there. They just got to throw in Man City and first goal scorer.
You know what? Actually, do it. Stop the rugby. Let's not do. Stop the soccer. Let's not do the soccer.
Stop the soccer.
Stop. Everybody's just getting involved in the rugby. Anybody that goes through, right, we'll give them a chance next week in the final to just choose the first try scorer. So if they get through this, they get a chance in the final to choose the try scorer there.
Okay, so we don't have a soccer leg. You get this right, you go, and you've just got to get the first try scorer of the final, and you get the 100.
Yeah, that's it, right?
That's fine. Okay, guys, don't worry about the soccer leg, and we can just do that. And you've got a bit of time to get that done, because Gary, I guess time to talk a little bit of soccer. I had a look at the fixtures. There's nothing massive. Perhaps Liverpool, Tottenham on Sunday.
Yeah. That's it, really. I mean, other than that, I see our price boost was done yesterday while I was away. We boosted Man United from about 7 to 10 to almost even money. They travel, if I remember correctly, they're going to Norwich. Is that possible? I'm going to go have a look there now. I think that's where they are, you know. Norwich at home to Man United. Man United now 95 cents. I think United are going to get a result this weekend. I really do. To me, I didn't put up that price boost Dave did. I think 95 cents Man United is just a stupid price. You know what I'm saying? I think that they will be much too good for Norwich. Or they'll beat them. They're not too good for anybody. But then the big game, Liverpool, Spurs, 5 to 10 Liverpool. Let's not forget Spurs are crap just because they had a decent... so now poor Sean Nick is going up and down with Man City. You know what I'm saying? No. So he didn't hear the thing that you don't have to put in the rugby this week, just the 4 try scorers and who's going to win those games to take it through to the final next week. I think 5 to 10 Liverpool is a decent price. You know what I mean? I think Spurs are rubbish. The fact that they got a result in the Champions League against a bunch of clowns doesn't mean that they're going to come back here. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. They're really battling domestically at the moment, and hard to see. I mean, I think I'm also expecting a bit of a bounce back from Liverpool, who were a bit disappointing, I thought, against Manchester United, and I expected more of them. In fact, I had a really good weekend on the rugby, and then I took some Liverpool over 1.5 goals at even money. So that was a bit disappointing to lose that one. So yeah, we'll see what happens there on that one. And Gary, look, I want to throw in something different here. Last week we did it for I think we did it for how tall I am in centimeters. I'd like the guys to guess this week my weight in kilograms. How's that? Maybe give a 250 voucher for that, whoever gets it first.
Let me just find out another little peanut, onion, and let me think about this.
So, guys, my weight in kilograms.
You're a 113er.
You're going to go 113, Gary. Jeez, Robert G says 213. Yeah, thanks, but.
I'm going 113.
Gary's going 113. I'm going to quickly put that in. Let's have a look. It's Zach, 84. I like you, Zach. 96, 94, 108, 115, says Henrik.
You see,
I can tell you guys, no one's within 5Ks yet.
Oh, really, Brent?
No one's within 5Ks yet.
121.
121. It's a good guess, but no one's within 5.
You're not fat, but you're a big boned bloke. I mean, geez, still nobody's within 5. Eh?
I'm heavier than you would anticipate, I think.
Really? Sure. My 121 didn't get it, huh?
You're 121. Well, Emil's asking me to stand up sideways. There we go. Bit of a gut there at the moment.
Okay, not at your slimmers, but.
Okay, we got someone who's getting close now. We got someone who's getting close.
I'm going 126. No, man. No. I never. I mean, that would put you. I'll say 126. Okay.
No, still no one. Okay, guys, I'm calling 20 seconds on this one. ZA Punter's close. I'll give you that clue. And we got a winner. 129 Ks at the moment, Gary.
That where you're at, huh?
That's where I'm at, eh? Last year, this time I was about 111.
Oh, really? Huh? Wow.
Yeah. I've just started exercising again. Okay, well done to Robert G. You get the, what did we say, 250 voucher there?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Excellent. I'll just make a note of that.
Take the winner with me this week, I think, Robert. Maybe last week. I think this week. I can't remember. But yeah, no, so it's 129, Brent. That's pretty big for you right now. So
yeah, it's a bit too. I must say, it's a bit too big for me at the moment. I need to definitely lose a bit of weight to get into shape, and get off the couch a little bit. No,
it's so hard during this rugby and this cricket and all this great sport that goes on in the soccer. And I mentioned the word cricket. We were so badly outplayed in India, Brent.
Oh, the cricket has been awful, eh?
And I mean, where's it ever going to change? Guys play. I don't know who it was earlier. Was it Oracle that said he had never heard of the one Wales player? I mean, I turn on the TV set and I see people that I didn't even know they'd lived in South Africa, never mind played cricket for South Africa. You know what I'm saying, Brent? You see guys think, maybe it's raining and they're showing another game. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Because you've never seen half these guys running around the field for South Africa,
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm actually the heaviest guy in the Springbok squad, but I'm certainly not the quickest or the strongest at the moment. I can tell you that.
Would 129 Brent?
Yeah, I think 129 would be the heaviest. I think I haven't had a good look, but generally it is. But yeah, the cricket's been terrible. But Gary, would you agree that it's? I've heard a lot of people say this. The problem is our domestic cricket. I never watch domestic cricket. I've got no interest in domestic cricket. That's why I don't know who's coming up. And the problem is the international players don't play domestic cricket. So once you've made the South African team, you're taken almost out the system. And I've seen an article or hearing the other day that was saying how all of our other top players, like Callis, when he came into the Western Province side, he had Gary Kirsten, he had this one, he had that one. You came in, you had players around you. Now you're coming in, you score a few runs, and you pulled straight up to the Protea side. It's crazy. Yeah.
And they're just not experienced. They don't have the technique and the experience and the ability to go and play against really top bowlers. You know what I'm saying, Brent? And you have to, if the Curry Cup, I don't even know what they call it anymore, right? But if it is a Curry Cup, right? So these guys are coming through, but now they're playing against bowlers that are not much better than first league bowlers. So they go there and they get 230, and then the next day they get 90 not out. They think, well, we're in trouble. We draft him into the Proteas side and let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, he's playing against bowlers that never bowl a bad ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Bowlers that can move it this much either way without changing their action much. You know what I'm saying? And how's he going to cope? He never played against a Vince van der Bijl or a Garth LaRue or somebody in domestic cricket, you know. He's played against, you know what I mean, Joe Soap and rigor mortis, you know what I'm saying? There's no ways he's going to cope on the international scene, you know what I mean? That's the truth, though.
Yeah, Henrik's saying, he disagrees also on the domestic game. It just hasn't been up to scratch. But Gary, I guess that brings us to the end of the show. Anything else you want to do? Any other sport you want to talk about that's taking place this weekend? Any horses you got for us?
No, sorry, my horse ran second. We got beaten by an absolute superstar on Monday. We got really annihilated by 10 lengths, you know. Let me think.
I know Southpaw, I must actually just quickly check. One of our shrewd horse racing punters on the Good for the Game forum, and I just want to look what he sent me a message earlier, and he put it on the Good for the Game forum. Tell me what you think of this one.
Okay.
He said, Casino Queen. He managed to get 12-1. Casino Queen. I think it's in the Guineas. The Phillies race, the big Phillies race. And he said it's going to start half that price. What do you think of that?
Well, it is now because I'm going to go make it 6-1 quickly. Thanks very much, Brent. No, we won't do that. If I think of anything, we'll get it onto your site and everything. But I think that's it. You know, it's been it's going to be a very interesting 2 semi-final rugby weekend this weekend, and I look forward to it. And again, let's just hope that it gets won on the field and not in the TV room by somebody issuing a red card because the tackle was a little bit higher than it should have been. And obviously next week, that's it. We got a lot of money we have to give away next week as well, Brent. Next week's the show. The guys have got to get on there. You know what I'm saying? And let's see where we go.
Can we start at 8:15 again next week?
Definitely. Next week's going to be a bumper show. I'll have a shave beforehand, a haircut. I'll come in there, and you can, we'll have a lot of punts next week and a lot of fun.
Right, just put up Neil's asking for markets. Gary, please price up total number of penalties for the semi-finals. Interesting. I'm sure there probably will be, but I would say we're going to get more penalties than tries. Let's put it that way, Gary.
Does it mean penalties issued or penalties succeeded?
Succeeded. I think he means penalties succeeded, as in kicks to posts that go over.
I think he's asking how many penalties are going to be awarded.
You can just clear that up first.
Let him tell us later, and we can have a look at that. He can give us a shout during the weekend, before the weekend, and I'll do something for him with pleasure. And then, Brent, we will definitely speak next week, Thursday.
Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to it, Gary. And, looking very forward to this weekend of rugby. I think it's going to be a good one. Definitely will be. Second biggest weekend of the year. We talk next week. Excellent. Gary, thanks very much. Cheers. That was Gary Lentin. Thanks, Gary, from GGGaming.bet. Guys, thanks very much for all of you who joined us in the live show. Neil, I think just drop Gary an email or drop me an email. I'll send it on to them about what you're looking for there, and we can see if they'll place it for you. Thanks to all the guys in the live chat. It was a great show. Let's hope we have some winners of the vouchers. The 100K, well, it might be a stretch, but it's not impossible. Let's see if we can get someone into the next round next week. Guys, we're going to be taking a very short break, and then we're going to be back for the handicap rugby chat that matters. That's at 9 o'clock. Oracle Rugby coming on the show. Henrik Swat and Brendan Vessels. We're going to be talking rugby. We're going to be talking betting. And no doubt, Oracle and I are going to clash on a game or two. Looking very forward to that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes' time.